Hi, friends. I'm Katie.
And I'm Lauren, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Bob's Burgers Season 5, Episode 15, Adventures in Chinchilla-sitting, and Episode 16, The Runaway Club. We always start off with a synopsis, so here is Episode 15, Adventures in Chinchilla-sitting. Bob planned date night for him and Linda. Louise brings home the class pet, a chinchilla. They ask Tina to babysit, and Bob's date night plans is trivia. Linda isn't very excited to play trivia, and it doesn't help they don't know any of the answers. Wayne, Louise's classmate, comes over dealing with separation anxiety from the chinchilla. The chinchilla escapes, and the kids go on the hunt to find him. They get help from Tammy to pinpoint where Jonas took the chinchilla, then leading them to a high school party and then to the skate rink. They finally save the chinchilla, and Louise offers to give the chinchilla to Wayne for the weekend instead. Linda steals the answer sheet for trivia, and they cheat to finally get some answers right. They're caught cheating and are kicked out of trivia. As, everyone does.
Yeah. I mean, trivia is fun when you know some of the answers. Like, when you know none of them,
It's really, it does suck.
that's different, because, I saw an ad, and I texted this to my friends because it was Jeopardy, I guess, is doing some kind of, pop culture version or something, so it was, a call for teams of 3. And what was really funny was I sent it to the 2 of them because it was a group of the 3 of us, and I was like, collectively, we'd either be amazing at this or terrible. I don't know which one.
That sounds like something that I really love.
We did not take the quiz.
One of the things that my husband and I did a lot when we first started dating was a lot of trivia. We actually really loved it. We haven't gone in a really long time. And then the one location that we hadn't tried yet for trivia out here closed. So
anytime I watch Actually, I'm like, I would be terrible at this unless it's specifically about Disney.
I feel that. The amount of times my husband's really great with music and sports, and then he's got me for history and other things. And it's so funny because as a team, we're great. Alone, nope. So we always start off with our puns. What did you get for the vacant storefront?
It was Lady and the Clamp hardware for her.
I kind of like that though, Lady and the Tramp, but it's also for women.
Yeah, no, it's but it also still it kind of almost sounds like the lady has chlamydia.
Just a little. It's okay. Thank you for ruining that for
just
me.
A tiny bit.
What did you get?
You're welcome.
Pest control truck.
Speaking of bodily ailments, Spray's Anatomy Exterminators,
which is really fitting for how much we talk about Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, right.
And then burger of the day.
There was one burger of the day, and this was the $6 scallion man burger, which for a while Bob's head was in the middle of the burger, and I'm like, move to the side.
I love that you get to yell at a cartoon every week to move out of the way.
Just move it. Because again, this is my thing, is why have a pun if you can't see it? To be fair, our burger of the day is very small. You can't read it anyway, but it's always in frame.
That's the biggest size I could find.
I'm not complaining. I didn't need it to be any bigger. It's always on Instagram.
Yeah. This way you always have if you ever move, you can find a nice little spot for it if you have how your setup is. You can fit just anywhere.
It'll
just like me.
It'll always be near. It'll always be near the podcast.
So what did you think about Wayne?
He was played by Andy Richter, wasn't he?
Yes. Who has a lot of roles he has played, but I have a favorite.
Okay, because he works with Conan a lot.
He works with Conan a lot, yes, but he's also very big in the Madagascar movies. Okay. Do you know who he plays in Madagascar?
I think I've only ever seen the first one, so no, I don't.
He plays Mort.
Which one is Mort?
Isn't that the little one that he's always yelling
I don't
at?
know. Like I said,
I think so.
I've seen Madagascar a total of 1 time.
Here, Google it real quick because I can't show you my screen.
Yahoogle. We haven't done a Yahoogle in a while. Although I guess I was looking at something before. I was looking up something before the episode, but it doesn't really count.
He's the little one.
Oh, okay.
I love it says on age he's more or less 50 years old.
I like it. So is he the one that goes, King Julian, why am I tied to a stick? Is that him?
That's him.
Okay.
So yeah, that's Andy Richter.
Yeah. I as a character, Wayne, I'm like, there's definitely always a kid that gets a little too attached to the class pet. Although I did have the question of when it comes to like bringing class pets home, is that a thing that
I've
happens?
never done that before.
Because like my only experience with class pets is in the first grade we had, I want to say, some level of gerbil or hamster or
Mm-hmm.
something. I don't know. And like we didn't take the thing home, but it did have babies, and like some kids got to adopt the babies.
Mm-hmm.
I had a golden retriever. We weren't getting a hamster.
No. I remember having fish in my classrooms.
We had fish in kindergarten. I remember that. I don't really remember having a class pet after first grade.
Yeah, me either.
So that was one thing. But there's always one kid that does get a little too attached, and like I do
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. Like they did, the two of them, him and by the end of it, him and Louise did work together fairly well. But I did feel bad for the chinchilla, although he was at least right in that like give the chinchilla an appropriate name. Atlas might be a
Yeah.
bit much for a chinchilla, but at least it's got the right gender attached.
Yeah, and like Princess Little Piddles, what? I did like Louise's though because we know that Louise is really obsessed, with the Coochie Kopi and all the other different
Yeah,
Japanese style
yeah,
cartoons. So Shinobu definitely made sense. I thought Shinobu was the best out of the three of them.
I think so.
But this episode, the title, the title, the script cover, is all a parody of the film Adventures in Babysitting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't know what that is, but I assume it's pretty much what we just watched. Just
Yeah.
You'll love this. The scene where everyone freezes to avoid being seen by Teddy is a reference to Jurassic Park because it also has the phrase, he can't see us if we don't move.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, don't you love
It's
moments like that? The waxing
best.
parlor, waxing philosophical from Mother Daughter Lays Razor, appears when the kids come out from hiding behind the newspaper
Oh,
boxes.
okay.
So
Nice.
that coming back into play. And when Teddy sees Louise's rabbit ears from behind the electrical box before Tina pulls him down, he remarks that he
Mm-hmm.
thought he saw Harvey, a reference to the anthropomorphic rabbit spirit from the 1944 play of the same name.
Hmm.
That's who he's referring to. I think Teddy has nightmares.
I think so too.
And then when Wayne says, "Your dad looks like he'd sit on anything," and Louise replies, "Oh, he has," it's referencing when he sat on Teddy's guinea pig, Francis.
Oh.
Do you want to know what the rounds of bar trivia were all themed?
Yes.
So round one appeared to be history.
Yep.
Round two, U.S. geography.
Mm-hmm.
Round three is technology. And round
Okay.
four's answers are all Kurt Russell movies.
But what didn't Bob mention early in the episode? Like, why couldn't this be about movies from the '80s? And that last round was about movies in the '80s.
Exactly. Just
Like, you didn't need the cheat sheet.
you really didn't need it. But would it be Bob and Linda on a date if they weren't stealing
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, if chaos didn't ensue
in some
of some
way?
kind. I mean, I wrote down stools. A bar with only stools. This seems kind of inaccessible.
It is inaccessible. You know how much I have to climb to get into a stool?
They're high off the ground.
You should see me when it's so funny when Steve and I do actually go on dates and there's no children. So we're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my God, we can sit at the bar if we want to. And we do
And your
because
feet are dangling.
I have to climb. My husband just sits down because he's 6'6". I have to
Mm-hmm.
climb into bar stools
Like,
half the time.
at least I'm like somewhere in between. At least I'm not climbing quite like you are, but I'm also not like just sitting down like it's a regular chair. I have to kind of like go up on like a tiptoe kind of thing, and then I'm good.
Okay, but what's it like to be chosen?
I'm 5'5". What's chosen?
I'm 5 foot. I can't see anything.
Technically speaking, okay, here's the thing: is I'm not technically 5'5". I am technically, every time I get measured, I am 5'4 3/4". But I feel like at my age, adding the fraction is stupid. So usually what I say is I'm 5'5" in shoes.
I refuse to be measured by anybody who's not a doctor or nurse, I guess I could say.
I
I
mean,
don't need other
that's
people
true.
trying to prove my height.
I haven't gotten measured outside of a doctor's office in a very long time. Luckily, my gastroenterologist, they've stopped measuring my height because I've been going there since I was a kid. So like they would measure, like they still do the weight, but they stopped measuring my height. I'm like, I don't think it's get any higher.
I
I
keep
don't think
thinking
I'm shrinking.
everybody usually believes me when I'm like, they're like, "How tall are you?" They don't measure me. They'll be like, "How tall are you?" Like a 5 foot. They're like, "Yeah, that sounds about right." And I'm like, "Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
mean,
you
like
for
when I
that."
when I say 5'5", people are like, yep, okay, like that's the
Yeah,
height that I look.
Yeah, everybody just looks down at me, which is so funny
Mm-hmm.
because like I'm like the lead at my work. All of
Mm-hmm.
my employees are taller than me, which
Oh,
is so
jeez.
much fun telling people what to do and you have to look up at them.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think they find it hilarious.
Yeah, I would say my boss is on the shorter side, but the few times I've seen her in person, she always wears like she either was wearing heels or she was wearing like these big platform sandals. So I truthfully have no idea how tall she is.
So I love that Louise forges signatures. I mean, as she
Yeah,
should.
that's exactly what I expect out of her.
Exactly. And I love how Bob's questioning it. Like, Bob, you knew your daughter would be like this. She already does this.
Yes.
Like, what do you mean? Why does she have a chinchilla?
Mm-hmm.
You know why she has a chinchilla. But I also believe that Wayne is kind of the worst.
Yeah. Well, clearly the chinchilla thought so as well.
Oh yeah, the chinchilla was like, no, thank you. I loved the line. It ran away and joined the worst biker gang in the world because it ran like Jonas got it.
Yeah. I was like, no, not Jonas. Like I saw that. I
Do
was
you
like,
have any
why
other?
bring this kid back? But then,
Yeah.
yeah, Jonas and the stupid motorbike. Does he only come around during babysitting episodes? Was my comment to that.
Oh, that's a good theory.
I
I have to wait for the
suppose.
next babysitting episode.
Um, trivia is either a great idea or a terrible idea.
Okay, but Date Nights of the Round Table is a good trivia name.
That was a very good trivia team name, especially because it was a round table.
It was. It was perfect. I really liked that.
Yep, you lost the chinchilla immediately. Who could have foreseen this?
Oh, that was yeah, exactly.
Like it's like everything is formulaic at the end of the day. Like we have a chinchilla, we have kids,
It's
we
gonna
have
get
a
away.
door.
We have the
The
parents
chinchilla
leaving.
is gonna get away. Exactly. Like that's what's gonna happen. And I said, I'm with Gene. Smash the windows and make a sandwich.
It's a good idea.
About the deli. I mean, about the deli. At least I'm sure Gene understands sandwich protocol.
Gene has probably added some to that sandwich protocol, knowing him.
I'm sure, but like he at least, if he were to order the sandwiches, he would tell him what he wants on it.
He
Is my
would.
opinion.
He would. This is the child that took a bean bath. Will tell people exactly what he wants.
Exactly. But to be fair, with Linda's cheating tactic, and obviously your thing of like, is it really a date night with the Belchers if they don't steal something? When you're doing that badly, I'm okay with the cheating. It's
It's
also very
okay.
on brand for Linda,
Oh, extremely.
so
I
that does make a lot of sense.
I wrote down a couple of lines that I thought were funny, but Teddy seemed to make me laugh quite a bit in this, which is so funny because he's so
He
random in it.
it was like the right amount of Teddy.
Yeah, it's like he was sprinkled in because his whole thing of I wish my radio worked, and I'm like, been there, Teddy, been there.
Yep.
My car radio has a mind of its own because it's touchscreen, and I think I need to fix something in it. So it does
Mm-hmm.
things on its own. It'll call people on its own. It'll shut off the music. My car is
Mm-hmm.
haunted. My car is haunted essentially.
Okay,
But then him
I
also
believe it.
eating, yeah, him also eating pad thai, and I'm like, that is in fact bad driving food. But also, how do you forget you're allergic to peanuts?
I wrote down no Teddy pad thai is not good driving food, especially when you're allergic to peanuts.
Like this really was like the perfect amount of Teddy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then my favorite line of the whole episode was, "You're in 8th grade. I thought you were somebody's mom." It's always Jean, man.
Yeah, it's always Gene. I Have you seen Criminal Minds? I promise I have a point. This is not on sequitur.
Some of it, not a lot of
Okay,
it.
so
But I
you know
get the
the basic.
premise.
So you know the basic characters.
Yeah.
So I wrote down Tammy is too annoying to be the Penelope Garcia of the situation.
Oh no.
Because I'm not gonna say that I got a master's of library science to be like Penelope Garcia, but to be fair, some days I do feel like her, where you can like I had to like look up. I don't solve crimes, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I do for a day job, but I do have to look up stuff, and I find things and
You
find
like
answers
fixing
and stuff. Like
problems.
I like fixing problems and finding information, and like that's what I mean. That's what Tammy did for this, was she used all her different resources and 5 different screens to find out where Jonas was going to be. I'm like, I don't like her enough to let her be the Penelope Garcia, because I love Penelope Garcia so much.
Yeah,
Like as a
Tammy's
character, I love.
still annoying child.
Still too annoying.
Yeah. What did you end up rating this one?
So I gave this one a 10 for plot, because this was good chaos plot, and a 9 for character. Because it's like everyone learned something by the end, although towards the end I did write down romance isn't dead, but how do you cheat at karaoke? That's a good question.
That is a good question.
It got a 7 for personal. I don't entirely know why. I think it's because I think while Wayne made sense, I think it might have been
too much.
It was too much Wayne. So this one gets a 26.
So I gave both plot and character 8.
Okay.
And then I also gave personal a 7. So this is only a 23 for me.
Oh, interesting.
You scored higher than me this time.
Did 23 is what I gave the once episode.
Yeah, this is rare that you rate something higher than me on Bob's.
Unless it's like on Bob. What was I say? Unless it's like times like where I gave I gave the Gale Tales a 30 and you didn't.
We knew that was gonna happen.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying it does happen.
It does. All right, so let's do season 5, episode 16, The Runaway Club. The Belcher kids have Saturday detention after they all got into a scuffle with Tammy, Jocelyn, Jimmy Jr., and Zeke. Bob and Linda are visited by a young girl who is selling magazine subscriptions so she can go to turtle camp. Bob says it's fake and a scam, refusing to buy any magazines. Fran pitches the kids against each other in a fashion competition. The winning team gets to leave detention 3 hours early. The kids battle it out through the fashion contest. In the last challenge, the kids all band together against Frond and all get to leave early. Bob and Linda are approached by Trish, the lady helping Sally with Turtle Camp. She nearly rips off the top of the counter and forces the Belchers to buy some magazine subscriptions. Jimmy Pesto comes into Bob's and they trick him to buy even more magazine subscriptions. So what did you get for the vacant storefront?
Shelfies, pictures of shelves.
Yeah, that's supposed to be like I love that the wiki specifically said it's a play on the 2010 photo crave selfies, but I'm like,
that's never gone away.
That's never gone away. Did it really start in 2010?
I mean, it started, the thing with selfies, because you have the transition, or I don't know how you want to phrase this. Because like selfie started with like people taking pictures of like with the camera in the mirror.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's kind of how it started, and then when like phones and stuff with like rear facing like cameras and stuff became more of a thing, is more of that. But I mean, shelfie is also what you call. I mean, I know it's pictures of shelves is a joke of like it's a picture of like a shelf.
Yeah.
But like shelfies is what people call when they take a picture of their bookshelves.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, so like that is a thing.
Oh, okay. What do you have for the pest control truck?
Bugs Bunny Pest Control.
That's supposed to be for Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, what's up, Doc?
And you can be upset again. There's only one burger.
Only one burger. I think I said before, like my ideal amount of burgers per podcast episode is 3. If you want to include mine as our third burger. Which is not a pun, and if you haven't listened to the Once Upon a Time episode that came out right before this, it's the Heart of the Truest Believer burger, comes with rainbow kisses and unicorn stickers, which without having seen that episode makes no fucking sense.
It's just because it's Regina and we love her.
It's an amazing burger, but the one in the episode was the let's give them something shiitake about burger.
It's supposed to be for something to talk about.
Yeah, but that's still just hard to say.
Yeah, it's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words.
Are you now realizing Brooke Dillman's voice when you hear her?
Yes. Because honestly, but here's the thing is she sounds like Paula Pell. So anytime I assume it's Paula Pell, I'm just like, nope, that's Brooke Dillman.
Yep, it's just automatically assume it's always Brooke Dillman, but she plays Trish, obviously. Yeah.
Yes.
So of course, this is a parody of The Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm.
If the thunder's loud, it's just going to be in this episode. Sorry, guys, it's summer.
It's summer. It was thundering here before.
Yeah, we're in lovely tropical storm time here. But in the opening scene, as Linda and Bob drop the kids off, an instrumental version of Don't You Forget About Me plays in the background. The song was actually written for The Breakfast Club. I don't need to tell everybody what The Breakfast Club is, I don't think. I think we all know.
I really hope not.
I hope
if I don't haven't seen it by now.
And then John Roberts did parody the song in the end credits, which I think is a better version in my opinion.
Yeah.
I really loved this, but Principal Spores appears for the first time ever in this episode, but we only see him from the neck down.
And he looks kind of like the principal from The Breakfast Club.
Exactly. And the last note I just have is that Jimmy Pesto is seen driving the minivan he won in Family Fracas.
Yeah.
So more continuity with Bob's Burgers. And I just want to start off with The Breakfast Club is okay.
Yeah, it's a solid movie.
It's considered a classic. I'm just not a big fan of 80s movies.
Not as fair.
It's the pacing.
Mm-hmm.
80s movies have such
like
slow pacing.
The Breakfast Club is one of those movies that, like, if I still watched live TV, and it was one of those things of, like, I couldn't find a whole lot else to watch, and, like, I was scrolling through the channels and it was on TV, I would stop and watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very rare. It's very rare when I find myself seeking out The Breakfast Club.
I don't think I've chosen to watch The Breakfast Club since I was, like, a teenager. I haven't seeked it out to watch it because I've never really had a reason. I'm sure I've seen it on TV from time to time. My parents had it on.
Yeah.
Because they are products of the 70s and 80s. But that's about it. Well, I should say 60s and 70s, but, their age. They're old.
Yeah.
We got a TikTok clip sound.
We did. I did not know that Take It Off, I Would Rather Die was from Bob's Burgers. I guess I probably should have, but, like, I never picked up on it.
It's kind of hard to tell in, like, the clip. The audio clip.
It's hard to tell that it's Jenny Slate. Like, now that I saw it, I'm like, oh no, that's absolutely Dan Mintz, but, like, it's hard to tell at first that it's Jenny Slate.
And for everybody wondering, it's when Tina and Tammy are going back and forth about their jelly bracelets, and they say, "Take it off, I would rather die."
I would rather. Then you will die.
Yes. I have other things written down, but I'm really excited to hear what your thoughts are.
In the scene with when what was the girl that was selling the magazine subscriptions for Turtle Camp? What was her name? So when Sally shows up, I wrote down, and when Bob and Linda are whispering, and Teddy kind of leans over the counter, I went, Teddy is the epitome of, I like to whisper too.
Yeah, he really is. But then I loved...
It was, like, very embodying that.
But, like, Linda's line, though, of, "No, Bob, we lost 3 kids to detention today. We're not losing Sally, too." Like, I loved that line.
Like, and it was good. But, like, it's like so clearly a scam. Like, what is Turtle Camp? Like, do you learn to take care of turtles? Do you save the turtles? Like, I understand that Trish's thing was you learn to come out of your shell. It all sounds fake.
It does sound fake. I understand where Bob's coming from.
Yeah, he's trying to, like, help out, but it worked in his favor, that he got to scam Jimmy Pusto out of a lot of money because his magazines will come in 10 to 12 to 18 weeks.
Yeah.
The fashion contest, like, it's like you were saying before, when you were watching, like, Frond is kind of the worst, and this entire episode, I'm just like, the intentional competition between the kids. Yeah. Like, it is good. It's good chaos, but because he's at the helm of it, I'm like, if they had devised, like, this fashion competition themselves, I would have been like, oh, this is fun. Like, it's cool. It's the fact that he's pitting them against each other so that for whoever can get out of detention faster.
Yeah.
And, like, his line to the kids, like, and that leaves 3 Belcher siblings together, which I don't think is an advantage. Like, I know it was a funny joke and he's not wrong, but, like, don't say that out loud.
Yeah, Franz says things that's like, do you remember that you're a guidance counselor? Do you remember what your job actually is? Because he does and says that. It's like, turn off Project Runway. Turn it off.
Yes, please.
Stop trying to make adult television shows into therapy. I wrote that Franz is just not redeemable in this episode. Like, he's just not.
Not at all. Not at all. But I wrote down, I too am the Steve Jobs of sitting on the couch watching TV for 3 days.
Right? Heck yeah.
Like, that is in fact our main hobby. But this, like, I mean, I can't say that I ever witnessed one of these happening in real life in anything but Clothes Party, which is a very common trope, I think, in like movies that involve college or TV shows that involve college, where you have to make. So I was like, okay, so this entire thing is them making outfits out of what can be used for an anything but Clothes Party,
essentially. And, like, it's so funny because I think my ex's, like, fraternity or someone in the Greek community, like, had a party like that when I was in college. I didn't go. Thankfully, I was already pregnant. So I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need to go to a party like that. I'm going to stay home and sleep. And I had that excuse. I'm like, no, I'm good. But I saw all the pictures from it. People get really creative with those.
Yeah.
They can have fun with that.
I mostly I mostly witnessed them through TV. Like my school didn't have a huge Greek life, and when they did, they weren't like super themed parties. I did not go to. I think I went to one, and it was mostly to make sure my friend didn't make stupid decisions. And
Yeah, you got to do that for a
that,
Greek life party.
to be fair, I don't think I succeeded.
Valid. I've had moments like that in life too. We had a
But
very
when
small
he got,
Greek community also.
yeah, but when he got to tell the guy off is one thing I was very happy about. I told him like when my roommate and I were like, hey, when he comes over so you can have this conversation, can you have the conversation by this door because it was right below our window.
Oh, nice.
So he did, and we got to hear the entire thing.
Oh, I love when friends do that. It's the best. Like, I
It
don't
was,
want to be
and
present, but I want to hear it.
He did a great job of like standing up for what he deserved. I'm very proud of him.
No, that's good. I like that.
Why was Trish trying to pull up the counter?
She wanted those magazine subscriptions. She wanted that money. Wanted to show how bad she wanted it.
She really did.
Which just makes me go back to the line that I really did love, though, when Linda's like, no, Sally, because your life is a lie.
I wrote down, Linda, you can't tell people their life is
Children
a lie.
at that! She
Exactly.
told a child her life was a lie. Linda, why?
I can't do that.
You shouldn't do that.
Because Linda
is Linda, and I love and adore her, and I relate to her far too much than I ever should. But you know, I'm a 30-year-old mom. I probably should be relating to the mother in things.
I would say so.
It's that weird thing of like, I know I'm older now, but I don't feel older. I still feel like 16-year-old me some days.
That's the funny thing about aging is like, just because we are an age doesn't like, I know the joke is like, I still feel like 3 12-year-olds in a trench coat. Like, some days it's like someone asks me a question and I'm like, and I should be the one that has the answer, and I usually do, but it's like I am adult. No, I don't think so. I still feel like a teenager.
Oh yeah,
making weird decisions and doing all that, but we are adults. It is, and we do think about things differently. It really does change as you get older, which is like weird to think about, because you still feel like you always feel like you're looking around for an adultier adult, like, oh no, I am the adult in this situation.
It's very scary when you have to have those moments too. You're like, okay, I need an adult, and then you look around and it's just either children around you or something like that, and you're like, oh wait, fuck, I'm the adult. What the fuck do I do? Which then tells me every time we were looking for an adult as like children, those adults probably felt the same exact way of like, oh shit, I'm the adult in this situation. And yeah, that's the joy of living.
It's a great time.
It's a great time. I don't recommend it for anybody.
No.
Even to the point I've gone out with some friends from time to time, and every time I now realize I'm the mom of the group.
You are. You're the mom of this group.
Did you hear that? Oh my god.
I did hear that.
So with us being forced to talk about the Breakfast Club, do you have like a favorite 80s movie? Because I can't think of one for myself, but I can't think of 80s movies apparently.
Not really, because here's the thing: is this is not an 80s movie, but it makes fun of 80, or it plays on 80s movies. In that I really like the movie Easy A, because she puts a lot of references to she puts in so many references to 80s movies in that movie. But that's not an 80s.
No, it's not. But movie. Easy A is so good.
So no. But I love Easy A.
I'm more of a 90s movie person. I've realized, like, I don't know if it's just because the decade we were born in or what, but like 90s movies seem really good. I don't know if it was the pacing was better. I can say that. I mean, we get Jurassic Park out of the 90s. Yeah. That's a classic movie. You get a lot of what's another one that's really good out of the 90s. Things like Space Jam out of the movie. There's so many.
Space Jam is such a good movie. Not the reboot. The original.
It kills me because my kids like the new one. Okay, but here.
Your kids are wrong. I love your kids, but your kids are wrong.
We got Twister in the 90s. I can't wait to see the second one. The Craft, The Sixth Sense.
My cousin was Practical Magic was it the 90s? That was early 2000s.
That was the 90s. Hold on, because that's
an amazing movie.
I love
perfect.
That movie.
My cousin one time making me feel old, and she's not that much. I mean, she's I think about 10 years younger than me. But like we were looking for something to watch one time, and she didn't want to watch a movie because it was old, and it came out in 1997.
Oh my god! Well, they're being robbed of good movies, in my opinion.
That's a her problem.
Because we also got Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio in the 90s. 10 Things I Hate About You, Clueless. Like we had great movies, man.
We really did.
Like every single one I see, I'm like, oh my god, we had a great decade. Can we go back to this?
So the answer to your question is no, we don't have favorite movies from the 80s.
But we really like the 90s.
Oops.
Now I need to go watch Practical Magic. We're getting a second one.
Yes, I know. And they're coming, and Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman are coming back.
I know, I'm so ready. I'm so excited.
Which honestly, like, if they weren't gonna come back, there's no point in doing it. It'd be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if they get Evan Rachel Wood.
I hope they get Evan Rachel Wood, honestly,
because like she's a relatively busy human being, but like I would love to see her come back for that.
Yeah, she is perfect for the role, obviously, because it's her. But like, if she can't come back, who would they cast?
I don't know. Well, because the thing is, I don't know if the one that played Antonia, I don't know if she's still an actor.
Oh, I'm unsure.
They might need to recast her.
I could see that.
And then I'm gonna assume Stockard Channing and Diane Wiest are like, we're good.
I could see Stockard Channing come back. I could see her come.
I would love to see them come back, but I also would not be surprised if they were like, we're okay.
I wouldn't be surprised, but like something about Stockard Channing tells me she'd come back. Like she's just that type of person, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
But
I will say though, this is so off topic, but Diane Wiest, I love her in Practical Magic, but I love her even more in The Birdcage.
Oh my god, The Birdcage. Okay,
that's the 90s also. That's a good movie.
As a witchy woman, I have to say Practical Magic's still like really, really top tier. But The Birdcage is just fucking classic.
It is such a good movie.
It's an amazing movie, and I really love how Robin Williams, like when they actually went and did interviews and everything like that, like him and oh god, what's his name?
Nathan Lane.
Thank you, Nathan Lane. I almost said Dan Aykroyd. And I'm like, no, that's not Dan Aykroyd.
No,
not him.
But he protected him the entire time because he knew that the questions were going to come out, and he did his best to make sure he could deflect and like just do anything he could to make sure Nathan wasn't uncomfortable. And like
the 90s was
because
a hard
Nathan
time.
Lane wasn't out. He wasn't out. It was a hard time, and he wasn't out yet. And after that kind of movie, that's fair. Like people are gonna start asking that, especially with the way that the character goes. But like my dad and I, we make Agador Spartacus jokes constantly.
Oh, I love that.
Like that was Hank Azaria's character. So off topic, 90s movies. Right? But if you haven't seen The Birdcage, it's an amazing movie. But it's like it's so much. The joke we make all the time is because we're big coffee people, obviously. And anytime like there's like grit or something in the coffee, one of us makes like the joke of like, what is this sludge? Yes, it's sludge. I thought I'd make a nice change from coffee.
So if I say the line to you, what's a Pirin tablet?
It's aspirin with the A and the S is scraped off.
This is why we're friends.
I love that movie. Heller Parent.
Fuck, I need to go watch that movie
again. It's such a good, and the best thing, and we'll get back to Bob's Burgers eventually. The best thing about the movie is at the end, in the dinner scene when Robin Williams slips.
Yes.
That was a blooper that they left in because he just kept going, and then you can see him getting more and more frustrated because he fell, and I'm like, this is perfect.
And that's just the beauty of Robin Williams. Like it doesn't matter what happens, he just keeps going and makes it funnier than it ever could be. God, I miss him.
He was so,
Wait, we had ratings for this, right?
We did. This one, it got a 7 for plot and a 7 for character. Like I say a lot, like I said before, like this one, if a few things were changed, it probably would have a higher score.
Yeah.
Because it's the fact that Frond is specifically pitting the kids against each other for his own gain, of he wants to prove this is some kind of pilot program. Although I did like their creativity of throwing out their bracelets makes them admissible materials.
I did like that, even though they had to force Tammy to do it.
Exactly, but it was good thinking on their part. But it did get a 10 for personal because again, if you take away those things, I did enjoy what happened. So I got a 24 out of 30.
I'm really happy that I figured out that I was wrong about the last season, but this season really seems to be like a good season
much
for
better.
you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to edit out all this thunder, so I hope everybody is thoroughly enjoying the thunderstorm ambiance that's going along with this Bob's Burgers episode.
we all love an ambiance room along with our podcast,
right? It's the storm the way it is. There's just so much thunder. The amount of editing that would take. I love you guys. I don't want to sit in my desk chair for 2 hours.
No, that's fair.
But I gave this one a much lower score. I gave
That's fair.
plot and personal both 7 and character 6.
Okay.
So it's only a 20, which is, it's okay.
Okay.
I don't have to like every episode of my favorite show. If you like every
Mm-hmm.
episode of your favorite show, you're only talking about these newer shows that only have like 8 episodes a season because
Yeah, because like it's it's easy to pick a favorite episode when there's only 16 episodes in total.
yeah.
Because like with like well obviously with our two shows there's 157 episodes of Once Upon a Time and 300 something
Mhm.
episodes of Bob's Burgers. Like there's and like when you have that much quantity, like we say
Yeah.
this a lot, when you have that much quantity, they're not all gonna be winners. That's just fact. They're not all gonna be winners with every single audience member, but they're all important, and this is what we say a lot about there not being a lot of everything
Mhm.
having like 8-10 episodes, is you don't leave time for filler, and filler is important. It inherently sounds like it's not, because like why would you want to just fill in space between the episodes? Like
Yeah.
because that's where you learn to care about the character. That's where you learn about the characters so you can care about them and you care about the plot going forward. Like yes, the plot's going to be interesting, but if you don't care about that characters, once the plot stops being interesting, goodbye. Like
Mhm.
with Once Upon a Time, so many people stuck around specifically for their favorite characters,
Yeah.
whether they liked what was going on screen or not. Like, why do you think I watched season 3? Like, because a lot of people fell off in the Neverland arc, or they fell off like season 3 and season 4. They fell off at those points because the characters they cared about weren't really featured. Like, that's reasonable. I got very lucky that my favorite character was the main character the entire time.
Yeah. And see, I've kind of hooked onto Hook, haha. So I'm good to go for quite a
But
while. Yeah.
you are good through the rest of the show.
And like
'Cause
with
like I
yeah,
said, that man doesn't die.
and
He doesn't die.
and with Bob's it works out too because like if you don't love any of the main Belcher family, you're not gonna enjoy the show. Because I know a lot of people who
Exactly.
really hate on Gene, they really hate on Teddy, they really hate on Lou. Like a lot of people think that Louise is just this bratty kid.
Yeah.
Which yes, she can be bratty, but I love her.
Hmm. Like I like them all at different
Mm-hmm.
times. Like I can't like I think I collectively of the main five, I can't say the same for Teddy, but for the main five,
Yeah.
I would say I enjoy all of them enough that and when like they're good, I love them and it's fun to watch them, and when their humor is good, and there are times where they're not doing the smartest things,
Mhm.
and like I'm gonna call out the characters that I enjoy,
They're being
like
human.
because
They're
also this
human.
they're being human, and what I say a lot of times like the kid characters are acting like
Yep.
kids. I'm like, I can't fault a 9-year-old for acting. I mean, she's a little sociopathic for a 9-year-old, but I'm not going to fault her for acting like a 9-year-old.
She's the youngest of 3. It's kind of understanding.
Exactly. And like they set up from the beginning, like, she's not your average 9-year-old.
She's
They set that up. You really do expect the worst out of her.
but it's also just the best with everything she does. Like,
Exactly. Like she's got some gems there. It's like after like the fire meme of like when she was at the
mm-hmm.
incinerator, that tells you all you need to know about that character, I
Oh
think.
yeah, it's one of my
So
most used gifts. It's like,
exactly. So at that point, I'm like, I don't really. It's what I say a lot about the villains on Once Upon a Time is like some of them, the ones that bother me, are the ones that claim that they want to
yeah,
do better. They claim that they want to like, but then they don't. Like Rumpelstiltskin. Like his whole thing is like he acts as if he wants to do better, but he
mm-hmm.
kind of doesn't based on his actions. My favorite villains are the ones that either are truthful about their redemption and work towards it, or the ones that admit I'm not wired to do any better, so I'm
And
not
that makes
gonna.
perfect sense.
Yeah, I think it's more. It's especially in a show where like they're like everyone's got these sympathetic backstories. Everyone has all these reasons for these things. My favorite villains are the ones that don't have a sympathetic backstory because like it just doesn't really work for their characters. You really can't give. I only wish to make a coat made out of puppies a sympathetic
No,
backstory.
you
You just
can't.
can't. There's no Cruella's whole thing on once, and you'll see when we get there, is she just really loves killing people.
Oh my! I mean, everybody has a hobby.
That's just kind of everyone's got to have a hobby, but like she's admits time and time again she's a really terrible person. She's not going to try and do any better, and I find that in a show that focuses so hard on like
Yeah.
redeeming villains, I find that deviation so fascinating, and it's a great place to
Well,
put
it's a
it.
good way of doing it, and just like you've got to show that. I mean, a lot of people don't seem to understand showing people being human. The humans are not
Yeah,
good. Like being human does not
people
mean
still
good.
people still equate anything being put on like a public forum,
Mm-hmm.
be a character on a TV show, as being like a symbol or being I'm trying to think of what they're the icon of
Yeah,
something, that they should be standing for something good and right, and like you have to show that like the bad people are the bad people, and I'm like adults should have enough cognitive reasoning and media
should.
literacy skills They should, to know when a bad character is bad, whether or not they get their comeuppance. Like kids media is that's kind
Yeah.
of like, kids media by design has morality stuff like in it. That's kind of that's a marker of a lot of kids media. Is it's pretty clear cut. There's always a moral lesson. The point of adult media is that it's not dumbed down so that a 10-year-old can understand that the bad person is bad. There's nuance to these things because adults should have the media literacy skills to analyze the media that they're watching and decide for themselves what's good, what's bad, what they want to enjoy, and why they
All
enjoy
that
it.
makes me think about is the talks around The Boys. That's all that makes me think of
Yeah.
is
People miss the point of that show
Steve and
so
I have watched the
badly.
first 3 seasons. We're going to start the fourth one soon. I have to pace myself with The Boys because it is
Yeah.
holy crap. The things I have seen from the people who create that show and the other shows they've made, because I watched
Uh-huh.
only the first episode of Gen V and I cannot keep going. I've tried.
Yeah.
That first episode alone,
Fair.
I was like, I'm good. And I'm a horror fan, but then I was
That's
like,
fair.
I'm good. But seeing people get so upset on not understanding who the bad guy is in The Boys in season 4.
I say this all the time. I don't know what bothers me more: people that overanalyze things to the point where like they're grasping at straws. The term is called corn plating. I learned this
Oh, I didn't know
recently. I knew
this.
there was a term. I knew there was a term for it. I couldn't remember what it
Okay.
was. So the term is called corn plating. I think that comes from Encanto. I think that's where the
Okay.
term comes from. Where like you're like grasping at straws, trying to find something to analyze about a movie. I don't know what bothers me more: that or people who seem to actively miss the point of things.
Probably actively.
Like you have to really
Yeah.
try to because our podcast is based in analyzing and
Yes.
overanalyzing things, but like I think we strike a good balance of analyzing the things that are meant to be
Mm-hmm.
analyzed and not analyzing the things where like the answer is because the show wouldn't work another way or because the writers say so. Like sometimes we're willing to admit sometimes the answer is because the writers say so.
Exactly. And with you saying all that, I just need the people who really love the bear as much as I do to also listen to what Lauren is saying. That's a controversial thing
There's
for me to
not
say.
always
I'll explain
there's
off
not
mic why that is.
there's not always a deeper
There really
meaning. So
isn't.
there's that, or there's the people that ask me time and time again, is Rumpelstiltskin Regina's father or was Rumpelstiltskin Emma's father? And that one I'm like, did you watch the show? Like truthfully, the point of her being the savior is that she is the product of true love of Snow White and Prince Charming. If you think that she's Rumpel's daughter, I don't know what show you're watching.
Yeah, are we watching the same thing? Did you find some weird bootleg thing that
Apparently
I have no
not.
idea where you found it? Like, what are you talking about?
Like I always say there's like the Regina one, there's nuance there in that like Lana and Bobby did play
Mm-hmm.
that. Like that was something in the back for a little while. That was a little bit of thought maybe he was her father. That was in the performance. But as the show goes on, we learn there's literally no way he could be her father. But that one, I'll give you a little more leeway with that one. When it comes to, I'm just like, I'm all for nuance. I'm all for saying there's new ways to look at things, new angles you can find things from. But I'm like, I genuinely need to know, how did you come to this conclusion?
Hey, be
How?
careful because they're adding comments now to podcast on Spotify.
I know. If you have the comment feature, because they're still
Yeah.
rolling it out, because I still can't find it on mine. I was like, if you have the please, this is a genuine question.
In
If
the
you think that
nicest way
Emma Swan is
possible.
Rumpelstiltskin's daughter, in the nicest way possible, if you think Emma Swan is Rumpelstiltskin's daughter, I would genuinely like you to tell me why. I want you to cite your
I will
sources.
genuinely love if we get comments about this on a Bob's episode. It
That'd
would
be
be the best
hilarious.
day ever. And now that song's in my head. Crap.
It's the best day ever.
And on that note,
SpongeBob is reaching the 25th anniversary this year.
It is.
Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Once Upon a Time, episode 302, Lost Girl. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our book club, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Katie and Lauren and edited by Katie.